We're all about the yay, no nay. I have a solution to offer, a value to share, and I would be doing them a disservice by not sharing it. If what you're doing is genuinely, authentically out of love and service, you'll never lose.
This is the Content Capitalists Podcast. We talk to business owners who've used video to grow their businesses to $1 million a year or more. How they did it, what worked, what didn't. Welcome to the Content Capitalists with your host, Ken Okazaki.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Content Capitalist Podcast, where we have conversations with business owners who are doing at least $1 million a year in their current business or past business, many times a lot more. Now, recently I went to this conference. That's actually a mastermind I'm a part of. And you know what it's like. You walk in and there's that one guy who stands out. You're not sure what it is, but there's something about him. You're like, I got to meet that guy. I got to find out more. This is that person from this last event that I went to in Florida. His name is Trey Roth. I got to find out a bit more about him. He's got a SaaS startup, which is a really revolutionary idea. I want to explore more about how he is bringing these new ideas around like social entrepreneurship, around supporting each other and also making money with it. And we're going to talk about his story today. Trey, welcome to the show.
I appreciate you having me, Ken. I'm excited.
Now, I did a very, very brief introduction just now about you. I had my assistant send me your bio. As I was reading, I just felt like it's so much more fun if you were to just break it down and tell us, what is it? What is Yaystack? What are you currently doing? And then we'll rewind and talk about how you got to that stage and whatever stories along the way brought you to where you are right now. Is that okay?
Absolutely. I appreciate you asking, Ken. Yeah, Yaystack is simple. It's a recommendation platform. So just think what Pinterest is to interests, Yaystack is to referrals and recommendations. So you're not just pinning things you're interested in, you're actually stacking yays, which we're all about the yay, no nay. So it's not reviews, which, is usually stranger danger. You don't know who the people are. It's the person who got a roach in their plate that's actually Yelping. This is the best finds from your best friend. So you know the people, you trust their recommendation, and it's all positive. So it's recommendations, not reviews.
Got it. So would you say yay is to Yaystack what a like is to Facebook? Is that kind of the metric that we're using here on the social platform?
Yeah, the difference I would say between a yay on Yaystack and a like on Facebook. A like on Facebook basically says, hey, I'm going to follow your page, especially if it's a business. For us, a yay on Yaystack is, no, I actually recommend you. I'm adding you, whether it's a book or music, movie, podcast, service provider, real estate agent, go-to order to go-to restaurant, whatever it is. You're saying, you know what, I'm going to add this to my comprehensive list of recommendations so that my friends know that, hey, Trey had a positive experience. And so now my friends can too, in a place where it doesn't disappear at the bottom of an endless feed like it does on Facebook. It's not competing with all the noise. You're getting a bunch of life updates on Facebook, or you're on TikTok and you're getting entertained, which it's phenomenal for that. Or all the other value propositions at the other social networks, like referrals and recommendations, the best finds from your best friends. It's getting lost in the noise, and it's competing with all this other entertainment content. And it's certainly not found on like Google reviews, Amazon reviews. And we say Yelp don't help because it's all stranger danger. A yay on Yaystack, in our humble opinion, it means a lot more than just a like on Facebook. Hey, like us on Facebook. It's like, no, give us a yay. Yay us on Yaystack, which means you're actually putting your name against our name. I recommend Ken for what he does, or I recommend this, whatever it is. So it's like a super, it's not just a super like, it's like a ultra mega super duper like, if you will.
Yeah. So that means that if someone finds a shop, right, that they like, or any kind of establishment, could they see the list of all the people who yayed it? Yes. And they could go and see a bit about their profile. Hey, this CEO from this company yayed it. This driver, this maid, like there could be, you can see a little bit about what kind of people are supporting and recommending the establishment. Is that right?
100%. And algorithmically, we're showing your friends first. So when you have friends on the platform and they're sharing the referrals and recommendations, all the things that they would recommend, you now have a Google on steroids where you can search for just about anything And then you have referrals and recommendations, not just a couple from a few friends, but you have a really invaluable resource. Even referrals and recommendations that you wouldn't know to ask for. Ken would recommend a number of things that I wouldn't know to ask him about. And then it's really an extension of trust and a relationally driven exposure to a positive experience. So it's like an extension of liking. So I like Ken and Ken likes this, the Shure SM7B, the microphone he's using. Ken recommends the SM7B. I like Ken, he likes that. So there's just an immediate, you know what, let me get that one instead of whatever, because obviously Ken really cares about production. He chose that mic for a reason. So one yay from Ken is far greater than like 1,000 ads for the same thing.
Yeah, I like it. I really like that. And do you have a direct competitor in this space right now?
Most of the referrals and recommendations, they were happening on Instagram mostly, and how really the leader is TikTok. So you can search for something on TikTok. You're going to find a bunch of recommendations, but the problem with that is that you still don't know, these people. It doesn't go.
You got to watch the whole video too to understand whatever they're going to say. But with a you can just see their name associated, and it's Trey Roth approved, Ken Okazaki approved, kind of thing.
Yeah, and we are
that.
the epitome of the network effect. The more people and more content, the more value for everybody. So as opposed to what was hot in social media a few years ago when Snap came out, being ephemeral, so disappearing after 24 hours was like the thing. We're actually the opposite of that, to where it's yays stacking. So there's more and more content there to where it becomes an increasingly valuable resource for you, such that you can say, you know what, let me just see what positive experiences my positive friends are sharing authentically, so that I can have that positive experience as well.
I like that. When you just mentioned yays stacking, that brought meaning to the name of your company. When I first heard it, I thought it was a play on words for haystack, like finding that needle in a haystack recommendation. Thanks for clearing that up. Now, just before we went live, you mentioned the word startup, like you're in startup stages. Could you tell me a bit about where you are on that path right now, how far you've come, and how long you've been working on this?
Absolutely. This was an idea years ago, and we built a little beta, and some businesses told us, look, if you would build a widget for our e-commerce sites, we would love to do that, and we would love to use it. And we said, what would you pay for it if we built it? And they said, yes. So we built it. Now, with that widget, it was thanking people for sharing to Facebook. So say that you go to an e-commerce site, and those little widgets at the bottom right corner of the screen that's like a chat bot or something. We had our own where it would unlock a discount or a donation to charity or something as a thank you for sharing to your Facebook. And so it was all completely tied to and dependent upon Book's API to basically let us share data with our clients. So we had that going, and we had several e-commerce clients. And then literally after we were trucking along with that, in one night, Facebook restricted access to their API. And the next morning I get a call from Matt, our lead tech guy, and Matt says, it's off. I said, what's off? And he said, Facebook. They cut off
our whole business.
Right? Yeah, our clients are not getting the data. And so we could have just closed up shop when that happened, but we said, you know what? Let's go ahead and rebuild. It was a moment of frustration just because our plan was working to that point. But then it was also a sigh of relief because I knew that we were going the circuitous route. And I just said, great, no more time spent with that. Let's go ahead and just build our own platform for referrals and recommendations. So that's what we have. And then scooting back a little bit farther, Ken, like I actually started producing music for a living after signing the record deal and spending some time on the road with the band. And that was a ton of fun. It was a fun chapter of my life. But we were working with a music producer, Rob, and I said, hey, Rob, I know how much the label's paying you to do our project. How does one become a music producer? And he says, tell people you're a music producer. I said, all right, I'll do that. And that led to a career producing music. And that business grew every year, all through word of mouth referrals. And I didn't make a business card. I didn't have a website. I was off of social media. I was off the grid, but yet the business grew all through word of mouth. And I knew that something was missing, not just in my business, but in every business. I found out that there was a gap in the marketplace when it came to referrals and recommendations. Facebook is the social network. LinkedIn is the professional network. The referral network, the best finds from your best friends, like where is that? I just knew that one day somebody would build the referral network where everybody shared their authentic recommendations. And then businesses on that side, businesses wouldn't be waiting for reviews that are hopefully positive, but rather they would, what we call, have a triple R. They would request a recommendation with every receipt. Request a recommendation with every receipt. Hey, if you have something nice to say, please say it here. Now, we get this question a lot. Somebody will say, what about nays? What about negative reviews? If a nay happens on our recommendation platform, our yay for platform, what are you for, not what are you against? Then it's not a recommendation, so we remove it. Nays just don't happen on our platform. There's plenty of places to give negative reviews. It's just not this one. We don't care where they go. They just can't stay here.
So we're just looking at like an absence of yays is the kind of equivalent to either not being visible on your platform or not being aware of it, or just not, there might have been a lot of nays, but you're not showing them. So it brings down the total count. I think that does work. It's like a catalog with a theme. There are magazines like, I don't know, PC Mag, if that's even around still. They will review products, but they will not take their time to review a product that they hate. They just wouldn't. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I get that. And that same question came to mind too. What about the nays? And that makes a lot of sense. Now, the question that's coming to my mind though is, how is this gonna earn money for you as a business owner? Just real brief, like what's the business model?
It's pretty much the same carbon copy as Yelp's business model, where businesses can own their accounts and basically have access to all the data. Now, altogether, if you think about, we are asking a lot of our community, for a lot of trust, because we're saying basically, hey, Ken, what do you recommend and why do you recommend it? Basically comprehensively, including most of, if not all of the components of your favorites, your referrals, your recommendations, your advice, anything that you're for, what is it and why is it yay worthy? That's a lot of trust that we're asking for. With the most valuable data, the most economically valuable data in the world is the authentic referral. People saying this is what I like and why I like it, comprehensively, at scale especially. And so for us to really explore opportunities to monetize, but morally, ethically, legally, totally above board, such that it's one thing to win the trust of an audience, it's another thing to retain it. And so for us to really just increase the amount of trust that our users have to where they don't feel like their data is being sold, and they feel like it's, hey, I'm sharing all of this with the Yaystack platform and with my friends, and I trust them with that data. All the while, figuring out, well, how do we create more value? How do we serve them well when we have this library of wonderful information as to, like, we can, for example, say to anybody who recommends a specific kind of sunglasses or the SMB, Shure microphone. Well,
you know a bit about tech, don't you? Just by looking at this, you know what it was.
Well, I'm come from the audio.
From the audio.
Music production.
What I want to do here, because I love where we are right now, but I want to give room for everybody who's listening who that's pre-startup or even pre-embryonic stage. They're thinking about doing a business. Maybe they want to start their coaching program or a SaaS like what you're doing. Take us back to before. Now, you mentioned something about being a musician. You mentioned about being a music producer. Were you a born entrepreneur, or did that come a little bit later? Could you tell us that evolution of Trey Roth. And here's what I'm curious about. The music, when you're a musician, can we find that online somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. You can. I would say one thing that was a fun project was Chris Cawley, Cauley. Chris Cawley, if you look up My Turn, that EP, I engineered it, produced it, mixed it, mastered it. I played several instruments on that project, but we also had the privilege of recording several of Michael Jackson's band members, including the bass. Listen to the bass on that project. So good, so good. And Sam Sims, the guy that played bass on that project, has also played for Timberlake, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, like you name the A-lister. Sam's
So I think I found your guy here, Chris Cawley.
Yeah.
Is this country music or?
No.
So I'm not going to play it right now. No.
So Chris Cawley, I couldn't really see that, but it's My Turn is the EP.
Yeah.
But that was just a really, really fun project just because we were going to outsource the mixing. We didn't do that. I just ended up mixing all of it. We were going to outsource the mastering. Didn't do that. I ended up mastering it. So there was just, I had my hands all over
You
that
seem
project.
to be the kind of guy that when there's a problem, you roll up your sleeves, you figure out just enough education to solve that problem, and then you move on. Is that you? Or are you the guy who reads the whole manual before you start? Like, figuratively.
Definitely the former. It's just like, well, my wife has said for several years now, where there's a Trey, there's a way. And so that's been a fun.
You and your isms, right? Yaystack. You got you said so many things that roll off your tongue. And I feel like these are all like company-wide slogans, or they could be catchphrases. You got so many of them.
We started on all the Yay clubs. We have the Yay team is our team. The Yay list, every shareholder we affectionately call a Yangel. So I literally my investor updates with Yangels. And then also, Yay really represents a way to view and do life, because I grew up and I just had the story after story and case after case of where I've seen people think negative thoughts, focus on the negative, and bring those thoughts into their reality. They're focused on the negative. They basically would let what's most wrong determine what they feel most, and then they would live down to their fears, not up to their dreams. Mm-hmm. So Yaystack really represents a way to view and do life. Yaystack represents a way to view and do life by way of simply just focusing on the best, not missing the yays in your days, being cognizant of the miracles around you. Like for Ken to really know that, truly to know and be mindful of the fact that he is, in fact, a multitude of miracles, experiencing a multitude of miracles. You're 25 trillion cells operating in perfect harmony. To be able to see me, hear me,
amazing.
Talk, and then even for us to have this experience right now.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it? We're on the other side of the world, and we're speaking pretty close to real time. And this is going to get recorded, turned into 50 pieces of content that people, potentially millions of people, will see, hear, and continue to replay this. That blows my mind. And it's the culmination of all of our experiences in our lives that is being shared across digital platforms. It's ridiculous when you start going deep like that.
Totally. Well, and that's why the first part is important, for Ken to know that he himself is a multitude of miracles, experiencing a multitude of miracles. So that's the outer part. The first part is inner. The second part is outer. The outer including this whole Zoom thing, what's happening right now. But yeah, that's where you really know what you have when you have it. You are grateful for whatever your experience is, and then you celebrate what is, you love what is, and then you elevate what is, whatever you can. As you know, as a former Tony Robbins Platinum partner, some of the Tony teachings, that progress equals happiness. So when we elevate what is, maybe it looks like seeing a referral or recommendation on Yaystack and saying, I'm going to go do that too. I'm going to experience that too, like my friend is sharing. Then, and you're elevating, you're celebrating, and you're elevating. So that's really the lifestyle that we're all about at Yaystack, is to celebrate life and to elevate life. Celebrate and elevate, and just rinse and repeat. As far as another ism or a yay-ism and a part of our ethos and way to view and do life that we're all about is my son actually put it in a drawing. He drew our logo, which is a yay, and then it's hard to see. It's like in hieroglyphics. But here it says, find a way to be a yay in someone's day today. Find a way to be a yay in someone's day today. And that's really the way to live your happiest life, is to always be looking out for how to add value to people's lives and to serve and to give.
Amazing.
And take the spotlights off of ourselves and say, and not be a me monster, but rather turn it and say, how can I give? How can I serve? How can I help in some way, big or small? That is really the way to live the yay life. That exemplifies how to live your happiest life.
When we met the last time, you had so much of the culture of yay around everything you said, what you're wearing. And I'm guessing that you work a lot on culture in your team, in your communications. Tell us a bit about how you translate that yay culture, the philosophy, the ethos, into making sure your team is on board, making sure your audience, your customers knows what you stand for. Tell us a bit about strategically what's going on there.
Absolutely. We're mindful, Ken, that the way that our people are treated, like our customers, our clients, it really is based on how the team is treated, how the yay team is treated. So when we say find a way to be yay in someone's day today, we will absolutely do that with our team first as much as we can possibly help it. So an example is lead tech engineer Matt. He went to visit his family in Asia and his wife's side of the family. And when he went, we basically said, look, we want you to take them out to a really nice dinner. Here's some money to do that with. And it was just a way that we could be a yay in his day, or give him the gift of giving to his wife's family. And so it's those kinds of little things that's like, if we're going to treat our customers, our clients, and, we basically preaching this ethos of find a way to be a yay in someone's day to day, we must start with our own yay team to make that happen.
Amazing. My question to you is, so many businesses get this wrong. They say they're about ecology and clean energy and supporting these kind of things. And then you get, the package in the mail, it's made of a bunch of unrecyclable plastic, right? You see so many contradictions in people's mission versus the execution of the mission. I know you're acutely aware of this because Tony talks about this quite a bit. How are you taking your mission, your vision of Yaystack, and making sure the way it's executed? And you explained that internally, but externally, how do you communicate that? We're talking about things like social media, talking about things like what you're putting on your website, communicating to your partners and things like that.
Absolutely. So we have an Instagram, for example, with Yaystack, and we basically showcase stories, little moments of where our values are exemplified. So like Shaquille O'Neal, for example, buying a kid a computer in a store or a bike or something like this. And we say, look, when you find a way to be yay in someone's day to day, this is what it looks like. Because we're all about the remarkable, where people are remarking positively about the products and services and the things, the experiences that they love. Something that we've learned, Ken, about what is remarkable. What we found is that a common denominator is that the unexpected is linked to the remarkable. If you think about it, if you're at a restaurant and everything goes the way that you expected, it's okay, yeah, there wasn't anything remarkable, but then just barely outside of the realm of expectation, the waitress does something small, but it's above and beyond, it's remarkable. And so that's something that we show as much as we can, and then live out as much as we can live out and do ourselves, but basically do what we can to go above and beyond in a way that's not expected. And we encourage that. If you, again, find a way to be a yay in someone's day to day, don't just pass by. Do something that's unexpected, even if it's just a little bit or a little something, but it's in that realm of expectations or outside of expectation, because what happens is you use a different part of your brain. Whenever you're experiencing something that's unexpected, it immediately transitions. Yes. It becomes remarkable, and it harkens to what Maya Angelou said. She's famous for saying, which is that people won't remember what you said, people won't remember what you did, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. So that's a part of the ethos. And so sharing that on social media, sharing that within our own app, these are ways that we are communicating ever increasingly what we're all about. We're even optimizing. We have some updates in the app coming that are optimized for our values themselves to showcase this is how to live the Yay life, which is basically your most grateful, joyful, and impactful.
I got a couple things came to my mind as you're saying this. The movie Bambi, which I'm sure you've seen.
Of course.
The most philosophical phrase that hits kids at that age: if you don't got something nice to say, don't say nothing at all. That's pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
When you're onboarding, that we say, look, you can't say something nice, please don't say anything at all. I agree. Bam. You agree to that when you enter the app. It's like, we're positive people sharing positive experiences. It really is like our goal, Ken, is to serve an ever-growing positive community that's not just growing in number, but growing in positivity and happiness, because joy begets joy. Gratitude begets more things to be grateful for. It's really an energy. It's an energy, and it's a commitment to saying, let me live the Yay life, my most grateful, which means aware of the truth of how wonderful it is to be Ken. It's pretty great. And to combat the law of familiarity, which states that the more you experience something, the more you have a tendency to take it for granted. Yeah. So Ken being Ken is like pretty dang great. How great? And how aware is Ken of that? How often, and how can he be increasingly aware and emotionalize the truth of how wonderful it is to be him and to have his life experience? So we want to help with that. We want to help with Ken's ability to celebrate and elevate, to focus on the best, to find the best, to feel the best, and to attract the best. So that's how it works. This is more, of course, Yaystackisms, but it really is what you're looking for. And you're going to find whatever it is you're looking for. You're going to feel what you find, and you're going to attract more of what you feel. So here's how it goes. Seek, and you will find, and you will feel, and you will attract. For example, if you're looking for the worst in yourself or in others, you're going to find it, you're going to feel it, and you're going to attract more of it. But then the opposite is true. If Ken's looking for the best in himself, he's going to find it, he's going to feel it, and he's going to attract more of it. And then you can only give that which you have to give. So one of the most selfless things Ken can possibly do, or any listener, one of the most selfless things you can possibly do is to be nice to yourself. Why? Because the way you treat others is the way you first have treated yourself. Yeah. So if you're nice to yourself, then, and a way that you can be nice to yourself is to see the best in yourself, see the best in others, and you're going to find what you're looking for. You're going to feel what you find, and you're going to attract more of what you feel. So it all starts with seek. That's what we're all about at Yaystack, is don't miss the Yays in your days. Look for the best.
This question is coming to my mind right now because we're reviewing all of the SOPs in our business. And as we have a media production agency, we do thousands of videos every single month. We handle some major brands. I'm going through with my team all the SOPs and see what needs to be updated. We're migrating to a new platform, so it's a good opportunity. But as I was doing that, I realized I'm spending so much of my time on the how-to, the technical stuff. And I realized it's just not enough of the principles and the philosophy behind why these things are important. And as you're speaking, I get the sense that when you're with your team, there's probably a large percentage of your time when you're talking about principles, like just like you were right now, versus the technical strategic. Could you talk into a bit about how much balance is there, like when you're communicating to your team, just regular team meetings, principles versus tactics or strategy or technical things?
I appreciate you asking, Ken. We start with our mission and our vision. We start every meeting with our mission, which is our why. And our why is, our mission is to make the world a more positive place, yay by yay, day by day. And really we mean life by life. Let's genuinely, authentically help people live their most grateful, joyful, and positively impactful life by being a positive platform, a positive community of positive people sharing positive experiences only. It's an energy. And it's all in service. So every yay is an act of service. Hey, let me share something with you. Not brag about it, not be, negative, but to say, hey, I've had a positive experience and I'd love to share it with you on my list of positive experiences that hopefully is providing value to my friends and family. That's where we start, and then we go into, and we always repeat our vision. Our vision is to build the number one recommendation platform for the world. Very simple. It reminds me, Ken, real quick, I believe your audience will find value in this, because I shared this story earlier in a Platinum Partner meeting earlier today. But this whole vision of build the number one recommendation platform for the world, it comes from this story, or the reason for repeating it every meeting. There's a story of an old man with two young boys next to him staring across a snowy field. And the old man says to the two boys, y'all run across the field, and whoever makes the straightest line wins. So the boys take off, and one boy's line is zigzaggy all over the place. The other boy's line is straight as an arrow. So the old man gets to the other side of the field and asks the boy with the straight line, he says, what did you do to make it so straight? And the boy said, I just looked at this tree and I didn't take my eyes off of it. And I just ran straight for that tree. And so the vision is our tree to really create the number one recommendation platform for the world. All these ideas, and we're filtering, and it all goes through that filter. And of course, our mission is the why, the vision is the what. And so the mission, make the world a more positive place, that's why we're here. And then the vision, build the number one recommendation platform for the world, that's what we're doing to accomplish our mission.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend starting off that way, then get into the tactics, then get into strategy. Then it's just a reminder of why are we doing this and what are we doing? What's our tree? Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's dive into the minutia.
That makes so much sense. One thing I implemented recently in all of our SOPs is what's the definition of done? And I tell the team, if you can achieve this, then the how-to is not as important. And definition of done to me is in writing it as if it's already done, what are all the stakeholders feeling? What's the feeling? And then what are the facts? So for example, on this podcast, my podcast producer has a definition of done, which is number one, the guest feels supported and they had all the guest feels supported and like they were heard and they didn't feel uncomfortable at any time and they were able to go deep into their story. The host, which is me, feels supported in communication, are live as we go. And then the audience is the third stakeholder and how should they feel? How should they feel? And then the facts, the files are uploaded properly, the links are shared, and then a checklist on how to do it. And then I just realized that every time there was a breakdown in some systems because people were so focused on the how-to, but not the definition of what is the perfect image of a perfect podcast, how everybody's going to feel afterwards. And everything you're saying right now is so appropriate for the stage I am right now, where I'm revamping everything to get people to think about the end goal, just like you said, that tree, that finding that straight line versus getting lost in the weeds of the everyday how-tos. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
We're coming around close to the end, and I'm going to check my notes for any questions that came in from the live audience. But while I do that, could you share, and I know we're doing mostly yays, but was there a mistake that you made in this current business that if you could go back, you'd give it a tweak or the Command Z, Control Z type of command? And could you tell the story about that, if that's okay?
Absolutely. There was a gentleman that I went to for advice and investment. He gave me the advice, not the investment. But one thing he said was, really do what you can to validate your thesis. And he said the way I would do it is I would send out all these letters and I would ask people to share as a way of activating the value, which was our original value proposition, with the assumption that the future of commerce is sharing. But he was saying to do that with envelopes. I thought it was ridiculous because
Wait, how do you do with envelopes? He was saying... Explain that to me.
He was saying to do a test by mailing people something that would activate as long as they shared it with friends, or basically test the theory of unlocking value as a thank you for sharing, but to use the mail system with that. And I was just like, man, that sounds so archaic. There's no way that's an accurate test. This is tech. This is new. I don't even like going through the mail. I remember my dad sorting through piles of mail, and I've got this thing, and I'm just like, I don't like that idea. What I should have taken from that was the value of validating the thesis in a way that could help accelerate progress. He was right in that he was advising to test the theory, but I should have seen the value in doing it just a different way than the one that he suggested. That's something that I would go back and do. I would also take advice. There's an ancient saying that without advisors, plans fail, but with many advisors, plans succeed. And I've been on a growth path, and I'm still on this growth path with this mindset of, hey, where there's a Trey, there's a way. I'll just do it. Similar to going back to the music production thing. It's like my tendency is to do it all, but I literally can't do it all. I would delegate faster, sooner than what I've been slow to do that. And with the advisors thinking, this is an innovation that I'm responsible for. Like I've had a flawed assumption in the past. What do they know when I'm bringing this to the table and it's my responsibility to see this through? It's so dumb. Like that was just very immature thinking that they didn't have a value to offer. And now we have a powerful board of advisors, including Jeff Hoffman, founder of Priceline.com, and some other guys who have done extremely well building, two other guys building $1 billion plus companies. And I'm humbled and grateful to be around the kind of advisors that we have now. And yeah, I would definitely lean on them harder, sooner than what I have.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing that. No, this is the group we're in right now, board of advisors. That's why I'm there. That's why you're there, because there are so many people who have years of experience that they could answer a complex problem for you in just 5 minutes because they've done this many times before, and it's worth every penny the way I see it. So I got a couple questions. Number one is from someone named Wesley Brown. They're watching. And this is pretty basic, but he asks, how can I advertise my business to sell more online? Because I've never sold anything since I started posting them. I think he's talking about like he's trying to sell organically on social media. Now, I know you work with a lot of businesses in the B2B capacity. If someone is struggling to sell organically, what would you advise them kind of generally?
Absolutely. I would first speak to the mindset that you have, Wesley, in regards to like why to do it. If you think that you're extracting value and you're just asking for something yourself, you're not going to be inclined to do it. And it might be some of the mindset in my hallucinations that it could possibly be the mindset around selling is why you asked the question. However, if you think of it in terms of, I have a solution to offer, and I have something of value to share, and I would be doing them a disservice by not sharing it, and therefore also think of it as, I'm doing this out of love, out of service. Love always wins and service always wins. Like losing isn't even on the table. If what you're doing is genuinely, authentically out of love and service, you'll never lose. You'll always win when you do whatever it is through love and service. So something that you could possibly do is just to say, and this is more on the heart, and the creative and the right brain. That's what I'm speaking into, the why. So I would just say, anything you do out of love and service, you can't lose. Love always wins, service always wins. And then more tactically, I would highly recommend a book, Gabriel Weinberg's Traction. There's Gino Wickman has a book called Traction, which is wonderful.
I got it right back here.
It's so good. Then Gabriel Weinberg, that's a bit of a smaller book, a little blue book. That has what's called the Bullseye Framework, where it basically guides you through a system called the Bullseye Framework, where you're testing 3 channels very quickly at a time. You might do some marketing on Instagram and some emails and maybe some flyers or handouts or mail, I don't know. And then you go to LinkedIn and you do word of mouth and you test basically pockets of 3 very quickly to see what catches on mind. And then you go from there and then whatever works the best out of the 19 channels, you put all your eggs in that basket and you only do what performed best of the 19. So Gabriel Weinberg's Traction, I highly recommend.
All right, guys, we're going to put the links down below. If you're listening on the podcast, go to the show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out the links in the description for those links. And one more question here. Someone named Tak Udin asked this question: how do I get more people to my educational channel? Should I completely change the content or should I continue with the main theme? Now, I know there's not too much context here because we can't see it, and I'd be able to pitch in here with my thoughts, but do you have any thoughts around that? Like,
I often know what you say, Kim. Go for it.
Look, I'd say that if you find something that you're truly passionate about, if you love showing people how to clean toilets, like with gusto, using the right detergents, the right equipment, and making them look like the cleanest toilet you've ever seen in the world, that's got to be your channel, right? If you love doing something, then even though it may take longer, even though there's only 1 out of 10,000 people who are going to love it, what's the best case, worst case scenario? The best case scenario is that passion is contagious. Like, I started watching this guy on YouTube who goes door knocking and cleaning people's windows because I love his salesmanship. He does it live. He records
that. I know exactly.
You saw that guy, right?
I'll buy anything from that guy.
Like,
awesome.
I never went to Google saying window washing guy or how to wash windows or how to sell window washing services. But because I could feel his passion, because I could see how much work he puts into his team, into his brand, into everything, you can't do that if you don't love what you're doing. And maybe he doesn't love it every single minute of the day, but you can tell that the customers feel that, right? If it's clean toilets, there's another guy who mows lawns, same deal. There's another guy who pressure washes driveways, same deal. And if it's toilets for you, it doesn't matter. So I'd say in your current social media thing, whatever education you're doing, if you don't love it, then cut ties with that quickly and find what you do love that you can get excited about. And best case scenario is you grow a huge following, get a ton of business and referrals on Yaystack, obviously. Worst case scenario is you continue doing something you love, but it's not exactly profitable. But at least the time you spend doing it, you love it. That's what I got to say.
Mic drop. I can't top that.
Trey, we got to wrap this up in a minute. Now, I love puns. My kids cringe every time I do this. And I know you got the whole yay thing going, but I got one. I don't know if you already got this. When someone puts like a bad review, then you've got to yank that one down with a Y-A-Y. Yes,
I heard
that one needs a yank. Is it new?
That's new. I have not heard
it. So it's either a yay or a yank. Like, yeah,
I
yay,
like
yank.
That. I love that, man. That's great. Yank.
Okay, cool. There's no nay. It's a yank.
Yeah, that's great. That's hilarious.
See, dads can jive on this stuff. My kids, though, they roll their eyeballs. Come on, Dad. All right, real quick, just to wrap this up. If somebody wants to jump in, obviously they could Google it. But what's the best way for people to, number one, click right now on the link below and install this app? Where do they go?
Absolutely. Well, it's iOS only currently. We will be on Android in the future. However, if you have an iPhone, please go to the App Store and type in YAYS, so Yays. The only option you'll see is Yaystack. Download Yaystack, sign up, share some Yays, share a go-to order to go-to restaurant. We love, love, love those. Make sure to include the location so it shows up on the map. But my goodness, yeah, share your Yays with us, and we'd love to showcase some of the best.
Perfect. Guys, please do click it. I've already downloaded it. I think that it's quite limited what's going on in Japan, and I'm all the way in Japan, but when I am in the States, I think I'll be starting to explore who else is on there. Thank you so much, Trey, for spending your valuable time with us. Do you have any last words of advice for someone who's got their online business? They're thinking about, should I get into SaaS development, or should I, like anything we talked about today, they're thinking about how to implement it. You have any general advice for entrepreneurs?
Oh my goodness, man, your life is too short to feel indifferent about it. If your life ended today and somebody asked, how do you feel your life went? Would you say, okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. Or would you say oh my goodness, that was amazing. That was awesome. Oh, I had such a wonderful life. My encouragement is to take whatever you're doing, similar to what Ken was saying about how passionate you are about what you're doing. Allow yourself to be so passionate about your work, your personal life, your professional life, and just truly know the yays in your days. Don't miss the yays in your days. Allowing yourself to be passionate, to love your life, and to consider the alternative. Man, I wouldn't want to do anything else. If you're a risk taker, an entrepreneur, and you're feeling, the risk, and look, no risk it, no biscuit. You're going for that biscuit, so you're risking it. Then truly, you're going to weather some storms. But for you to say, you know what, this is a privileged problem that I have chosen. This is what I'd want to do. I wouldn't want to do anything else. Then you're allowing yourself to feel passionate about what you're doing. Let loose, be untethered about how you're spending your time. Allow yourself to love your business and your life so much that any day, if you were to die, you would say, oh my goodness, that was an amazing ride. That was awesome. So live with passion, live with vigor, and may there truly be more yays in your days.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Trey. And to the listeners, thank you for listening to the end. If you've watched or listened all the way to this point, that tells me there was something about Trey Roth's story that spoke to you, that you connected with him on. I highly encourage you, first of all, download the app if you haven't already. Second of all, go look him up on social media, whether it's going to be his Facebook account, whether it's going to be on LinkedIn. Connect with people who you resonate with. And that's how you increase that vibration. That's how you start finding your tribe. And that's why we're having this chat right now. So thank you so much. And if you want more like this, just hit a like, share it with somebody else, and I'll see you in the next episode. Trey, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you immensely.
Thanks so much, Ken. Same here.